Elon Musk has once again shaken the foundations of an entire industry. And this time it's not cars, rockets, or energy grids, it's aviation. The long-awaited 2026 Tesla super electric plane has officially arrived, carrying a price tag of $79,797 that is forcing the aviation world to stop, stare, and panic. For decades, private aviation was a dream reserved for the ultra-wealthy, an indulgence locked behind millions of dollars in government-regulated barriers. Today, that dream has been cracked wide open. With the reveal of this futuristic aircraft, Musk and Tesla have pulled aviation out of its old era and dropped it straight into a future that feels like science fiction made real. When Musk first teased the concept of a vertical takeoff and landing supersonic jet years ago, even insiders scoffed. Rivals like Boeing dismissed the idea as impossible, impractical, or financially reckless. Analysts wrote it off as one of Musk's notorious out-loud dreams that might never leave the sketchpad. But while those executives rolled their eyes in conference rooms, Tesla engineers were already burning the midnight oil. Prototypes were quietly tested, simulations perfected. And by the time the world realized what was happening, the future of aviation had already been rewritten. What we're looking at now isn't a concept sketch, it's a real, functioning electric aircraft ready to take flight and disrupt every assumption about what planes can be. The price is what truly makes this unveiling revolutionary. Tesla's super electric plane doesn't just undercut the cost of private jets, obliterates them. Even small private propeller planes can easily cost hundreds of thousands, while business jets climb into the millions before operating expenses even enter the conversation. For the first time in modern history, private aviation feels attainable. Not just to tech billionaires or corporations, but to everyday Americans. It's no exaggeration to say that the Tesla super electric plane could put the dream of flight into the hands of middle-class families in the same way the Model 3 once put luxury EV driving within reach of ordinary car buyers. And it's not just about cost. This machine redefines the very experience of flight. The most shocking feature isn't just that it flies on pure electric energy, but that it can take off and land almost anywhere. Forget expensive, limited, and crowded airports. Forget 5 a.m. TSA lines, long drives to regional hubs, and delays caused by runway congestion. With Tesla's engineering breakthroughs, your backyard can become your personal launchpad. This isn't hyperbole. The aircraft's eVTOL design uses 8 high-efficiency tiltrotor motors that allow vertical takeoff and landing in incredibly tight spaces. All it needs is a 50 by 50 foot flat area, just 2,500 square feet. When you compare that to the average American yard, which spans over 23,000 square feet, the implications are mind-blowing. More than 10% of a standard lawn is enough to welcome this craft home. Suddenly, suburban driveways, ranch fields, and even commercial parking lots become runways. Aviation isn't just democratized, it's domesticated. For the men and women who thrive on independence and the pride of owning groundbreaking technology, there's something deeply personal about being able to land your plane in your own backyard. Imagine stepping out of your home, pressing a button, and watching as your Tesla plane whirs to life on the grass where your kids usually play. Within minutes, you're ascending into the sky, bypassing traffic, airports, and all the headaches of modern travel. That's not luxury, it's liberation. It's redefining freedom of movement in the 21st century. But skeptics will ask, can it really go the distance? Electric planes, after all, have long faced the stigma of limited range. That's where Tesla's genius in energy storage and battery design sets this aircraft apart. The super electric plane is built with Tesla's latest generation of ultra-dense batteries combined with breakthrough generative flight systems. Instead of measuring range in mere hundreds of miles, this aircraft pushes into the territory of near infinite range when combined with Tesla's energy network. Picture this. You fly from Los Angeles to Denver, touch down in your backyard. And while you're having dinner, the aircraft is recharging from solar-linked Tesla Powerwalls. The next morning, it's fully topped off, ready to go again. The combination of in-flight power management, ground-based solar charging, and Tesla's fast-charging aviation infrastructure means you'll rarely need to think about refueling in the traditional sense, that fundamentally changes how we think about long-range travel. Road trips that used to take days suddenly shrink into hours. A family in Chicago can decide on a Friday night to spend Saturday morning at the Grand Canyon without booking tickets, waiting at airports, or worrying about fuel costs. Business travel is no longer a logistical nightmare of connections, hotels, and wasted time. It becomes as simple as walking out your door and flying directly to your destination. This is where Tesla's super electric plane quietly becomes not just a machine, but a lifestyle upgrade. It removes the friction between people and places. Safety, of course, is paramount. And here again, Tesla is rewriting expectations. One of the biggest hazards for small aircraft has always been bird strikes, danger that can cripple engines and cause catastrophic failures. Musk's team anticipated this and integrated a bird strike avoidance system powered by an eye-driven radar and thermal sensors. The system doesn't just detect potential hazards, it actively redirects flight paths in real time to avoid them. It's much like Tesla's autopilot swerves a car away from danger on the road. That means the skies become safer than ever, not just for pilots, but for passengers and even wildlife. The electric motors themselves are also designed with redundancy. If one fails, the others compensate instantly, ensuring stable flight under almost any conditions. It's not hard to see why traditional aerospace companies are panicking. Boeing, Airbus, and even military contractors have been slow to embrace full electrification, let alone radical designs like eVTOL. They've been weighed down by decades of legacy thinking, regulatory entanglements, a business model dependent on selling multi-million-dollar machines to airlines and governments. Tesla, by contrast, approaches aviation with the same disruptive formula it applied to cars and solar. Strip away inefficiencies, build directly for the consumer, and leverage scale to drive down cost. The result isn't an incremental improvement, it's a generational leap forward. Critics will argue about certification, hurdles, pilot licensing, and regulatory bottlenecks. And those are fair questions. But history shows that when Musk sets his sights on an industry, the barriers bend. He didn't just break into the auto industry, he redefined it. He didn't just dabble in space exploration, he built rockets reusable enough to drop launch costs by orders of magnitude. Now, with aviation, the same playbook is unfolding. Governments that once hesitated will face pressure from citizens and businesses alike, and regulatory frameworks will adapt. Just as they did with EV incentives and autonomous driving trials, the affordability also ties into Musk's broader vision. A $79,797 aircraft isn't just a plane. It's a cultural statement. It says that flight is no longer the playground of corporations and elites. It belongs to anyone with ambition, creativity, and the drive to explore. It's hard not to imagine the ripple effects. Real estate markets shifting as remote locations become more accessible. Tourism exploding in places once considered too inconvenient to reach, businesses rethinking supply chains, and families rediscovering adventure on a scale not seen since the golden age of aviation. For individuals, the emotional impact may be even greater. Imagine the pride of walking your children out into the yard and pointing to a sleek, futuristic plane that belongs to your family, not a distant airline. Imagine the freedom of waking up and deciding on a whim to spend the weekend in another state. With no ticket booking or layovers required, this is more than a technological breakthrough. It's a psychological one. It rewires what people believe is possible in their daily lives. And Tesla isn't just selling hardware. They're building an ecosystem around this aircraft, just as they did with cars. Expect integration with Tesla's energy grid, seamless syncing with Starlink internet for in-flight connectivity, and an onboard AI co-pilot powered by the same intelligence that drives Tesla vehicles. The cabin experience, too, reflects this. Instead of cramped rows, expect a smart, minimalist Tesla interior with panoramic glass, adaptive lighting, and eye-driven climate control. Everything about this aircraft feels designed not just to move you, but to transform how you feel while traveling. As with all Tesla products, early adopters will drive the cultural momentum. just as the first Model S owners became ambassadors for electric cars. The first 169,797 buyers of the super electric plane will become symbols of the new aviation age. They'll be the ones posting videos of backyard takeoffs, family trips that bypass airports, and adventures that make the old way of flying look archaic. The virality of those stories will only fuel demand further, creating a snowball effect that traditional manufacturers can't compete with, of course. None of this comes without challenges. Infrastructure will need to adapt from vertiports in urban centers to streamlined air traffic control for eVTOL craft. But Tesla has never shied away from building infrastructure where none exists. They built the supercharger network from scratch, and they can do the same for aviation. When paired,